Claire never expected her ordinary morning to shatter her entire world. A single tax document reveals that her sister, Hannah, has been secretly married for years, and the man she married may be dangerous. When Hannah whispers, "I'm not safe," Claire is pulled into a terrifying chase filled with hidden files, family secrets, and a truth their father died trying to bury. This is the story of two sisters fighting to survive the past. Chapter 1. The Secret That Should Not Exist. Claire Bennett never opened her sister's mail. Not once in 35 years. But that Thursday morning, as she collected the usual pile of bills at her mother's porch in suburban Chicago, one envelope caught her eye. A government-issued tax notice with Hannah's name, but the return address listed Claire's home, not Hannah's. Odd. Hannah had moved out 3 years ago. Claire stepped inside, set her mother's groceries down, and tore the envelope open with a casual curiosity that evaporated the moment she saw the first line. Joint filing status. Married. Hannah Bennett Cross and Evan Cross. Her mind stalled. Married? Hannah? To someone named Evan Cross? Claire read the line again, and again. The words didn't change. Her baby sister, reckless, emotionally fragile Hannah, was married? To a man Claire had never heard of? A cold ripple ran beneath Claire's ribs. That familiar protective instinct, the one she'd carried since they were children, surged to the surface like an alarm. She grabbed her phone and dialed Hannah. The call rang twice. "Hannah? Hey, Claire?" Hannah's voice snapped through the speaker, breathless, tense. "I can't talk right now." Claire frowned. "I just got a notice about your taxes. It says you're—" "Claire, don't," Hannah whispered. "Please, not now." "What do you mean, not now? Hannah, you're married? To who? When?" But Hannah's voice only tightened. "Don't go through my things. Don't open my mail. I mean it." Claire straightened, stunned by the sudden sharpness. "I didn't go through anything. It was sent to my address. If you're married, I deserve to know why you hid it." "I can't explain this on the phone. Just drop it, please." "Hannah, no, I'm not dropping anything." A pause. Long enough for Claire to hear Hannah's shaky breath. Then Hannah whispered, barely audible, "Claire, I'm not safe." The line went dead. Claire froze, phone pressed against her ear, heart hammering. She stared at the screen as if it would give her answers. Not safe? What did that mean? From who? From Evan Cross? Her questions multiplied so fast they felt suffocating. Claire grabbed her laptop, opened a browser, and searched the name. Evan Cross, Chicago. A flood of results appeared. Corporate attorney, real estate investments, a few charity events. Nothing unusual, nothing threatening. But another thought struck her, one that tightened her stomach. If Evan was a normal, successful man, why did Hannah sound terrified? The front door creaked. Her mother, Linda, shuffled in with a soft smile. "You're here early, sweetie. Everything okay?" Claire forced a nod. "Yeah, just sorting some paperwork for Hannah." "Ah," Linda patted her arm. "That girl always had a messy life. What trouble now?" Claire swallowed. "Nothing. Don't worry about it." She pocketed the tax form, plastered on a smile, and hugged her mother goodbye. But the moment she stepped in her car, she felt it, a prickling on the back of her neck, a sense of someone watching. She scanned the quiet suburban street, just parked cars, swaying branches, a jogger across the road. Nothing unusual. Still, the feeling lingered. Her phone buzzed. A new message. Unknown number. Claire frowned and opened it. "Your sister is not safe." Her breath caught. A second message came instantly. Don't trust the man she married. Claire's fingers trembled as she typed back. Who are you? What happened to Hannah? 3 dots appeared, typing, then stopped, then appeared again, then disappeared completely. No reply. Claire gripped the steering wheel, mind spiraling. Hannah lied about being married. Hannah sounded afraid. And now someone else, someone watching, claimed she was in danger. Claire started the engine and pulled out of the driveway. This was no misunderstanding, no misplaced document, no forgotten wedding announcement. Something was wrong. Deeply, dangerously wrong. And Claire felt a chilling certainty settle in her chest. Hannah wasn't just hiding a marriage. She was hiding something darker, something she was running from. As Claire turned onto the main road, her phone lit up again with one final message from the unknown number. If you love her, don't let him find her first. Claire's breath caught in her throat. Find her first? Was Hannah missing? Was Evan looking for her? Was someone else involved? Her pulse quickened. She dialed Hannah again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. Again. Voicemail. The walls around her tightened until she could barely breathe. Hannah was in trouble, real trouble, and Claire was already too late to pretend otherwise. She took a sharp turn toward the city, the address listed on the tax form glowing in her mind. The address where Hannah and this mysterious Evan Cross supposedly lived together. Claire pressed harder on the gas pedal. If Hannah wouldn't tell her the truth, Claire would drag it into the light herself. And that was the moment everything began to fall apart. The apartment building didn't match the name Evan Cross at all. Claire expected something polished, the kind of place a well-paid attorney would choose. Instead, she found herself standing in front of a worn, aging brick complex in the outskirts of northern Chicago, where stair rails rusted in patches and the hallway lights flickered like a heartbeat. If Hannah lived here, she hadn't told anyone. Claire pressed the buzzer beside the unit listed on the tax form. Unit 3C, Hannah Bennett Cross and Evan Cross. Her pulse thudded in her ears. 1 ring. 2 rings, 3, a crackle, a voice, but not Hannah's. A man, deep, controlled. Who is this? Claire swallowed. I'm looking for Hannah Bennett. I'm her sister. Silence. Then the voice again, calmer this time. She's not home. I need to speak to her. She didn't tell me she was expecting anyone. That sentence bothered her. Not the words, but the tone. Flat, precise, as if each syllable were weighed before being spoken. Claire pressed again. I don't care if she's expecting me. I need to see her. Another long silence. Then, come up. The buzzer unlocked with a heavy click. Claire's breath tightened. She climbed the creaking stairwell, each step feeling like it was sinking deeper into something she didn't yet understand. She reached the door of 3C. It opened before she could knock. The man standing there was exactly the type her instincts disliked on sight. Too poised, too polished, too calm. Evan Cross looked like a man who expected to be obeyed. Dark jacket, neatly trimmed beard, intelligent eyes that watched everything and revealed nothing. Claire Bennett, he said, as if reading it off a file. Hannah's older sister. You know my name? Hannah talked about you. Something about his voice made Claire's stomach twist. She stepped inside. The apartment was clean, extremely clean, too clean. Every object perfectly placed, every surface wiped down, every photograph aligned. A home, but not lived in. A stage set for a life no one actually inhabited. Claire scanned the room. No sign of Hannah. No shoes by the door. No coat on the hook. No coffee mug drying by the sink. No makeup bag. No clothes. Where's my sister? Claire asked. Evan shut the door gently behind her. Like I said, she's not home. Where is she? She didn't tell me. Claire narrowed her eyes. She didn't come home last night? He shrugged lightly. Sometimes she stays with friends. That's not true. Are you sure? He asked quietly. How well do you really know her? Claire stiffened. I know her better than you ever will. But even as she said it, her confidence shook. She didn't know about the marriage. She didn't know where Hannah slept. She didn't know who Hannah had become. Evan stepped closer, studying her the way someone examines a puzzle piece. She didn't want you involved. Why? Because you solve problems, and she didn't want this solved. Claire's breath faltered. What problem? Evan didn't answer. Instead, he walked to a drawer near the kitchen, opened it, and pulled out something small. He held it up. Claire's blood ran cold. It was Hannah's phone. Claire reached for it instinctively. Why do you have that? She forgot it. No, Hannah doesn't forget her phone. Evan's eyes flickered. Barely, but Claire saw it. She left early yesterday. We argued. She walked out. What did you argue about? Nothing you need to worry about. Yes, it is something I need to worry about. Evan tilted his head. You seem tense. She ignored the jab. I want to look inside her phone. That's not happening. Why not? Because it's private. Claire's voice hardened. Private between a husband and wife, or private between a husband and the police. A tiny crack appeared in Evan's calm expression. Annoyance, maybe, or fear. But before he could respond, a thud echoed from down the hall. Claire turned sharply toward the closed bedroom door. What was that? Evan didn't move. Probably the neighbors. It came from inside this apartment. He smiled faintly. Thin walls. Claire stared at the door. Her heart pounded once, twice. Something in her chest screamed that Hannah was behind it, injured, afraid, hiding. Claire stepped toward the bedroom. Evan moved in front of her, blocking the way. That room is locked. Open it. No. Why not? Claire's voice rose. What are you hiding? Evan didn't speak. He didn't need to. The tension alone answered her. Claire's phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out. Another message from the unknown number. Get out now. Her breath froze in her lungs. Evan saw the screen. His eyes narrowed. Who's texting you, Claire? She backed away slowly, phone trembling in her hand. Just someone from work. He stepped toward her, too close. Show me. No. Silence thickened between them. Then he smiled. It wasn't a kind smile or a nervous one. It was the smile of a man who had decided something. I think, he said softly, you should leave. Claire didn't argue, didn't breathe, didn't turn her back. She walked slowly, eyes locked on his, and didn't look away until the door clicked shut. The moment she reached the stairwell, she ran. She didn't stop until she reached her car, slammed the door, and locked it. Her hands shook violently. She dialed Hannah again. Voicemail. Then she opened the unknown message thread and typed, "Who are you? Do you know where Hannah is?" A reply appeared instantly. "If you want her alive, follow the address I'm sending. Don't tell Evan." Claire stared at the new address. It wasn't another apartment. It wasn't a hospital. It wasn't a police station. It was an abandoned house on the far edge of the city. A place no one lived. A place Hannah would never go, unless she was hiding or being held. Claire's heartbeat quickened. She started the engine, hands trembling. Something terrible was happening, and Claire was about to walk straight into the middle of it. Chapter 3. The house where she left her shadow. The abandoned house stood at the end of a cracked, overgrown driveway. its windows boarded, its white paint peeled into jagged strips like torn skin. The place radiated a silent warning, the kind that settles deep in your stomach and whispers, "Turn back." But Claire didn't turn back. She stepped out of her car, cold wind whipping at her hair, and checked the address again. 4217 Clayhurst Road. The same address the unknown number sent. The same address Hannah had avoided for years. Claire moved toward the porch, every board groaning beneath her weight. She pushed the front door. It swung open without resistance, as if someone had already been inside. Her phone buzzed. Another message from the unknown number. "She left something for you. Find it before he does." Claire swallowed hard and entered. The air inside was stale, heavy with dust and disuse. Faint footprints, a woman's size, maybe Hannah's, marked the floor, leading deeper into the house. "Hello?" Claire called softly. "Hannah?" Only silence answered. She followed the footprints down a hallway, past broken picture frames and water-stained wallpaper. The trail led into what used to be a living room, now empty, except for a single wooden chair and a blanket thrown beside it. Claire knelt. The blanket was familiar. Soft gray wool with a frayed corner. Hannah's favorite. She used to carry it everywhere as a teenager. Claire's throat tightened. "Hannah, what were you doing here?" Her eyes drifted to a small metal box lying half hidden under the chair. She reached for it, flipped the latch, and opened it. Inside were photographs. Dozens of them. All of Hannah, but not the Hannah Claire knew. In the oldest photo, Hannah looked younger, maybe 20, standing beside the same man from the marriage documents, Evan. His arm was around her. Her smile was bright, but her eyes, nervous, uneasy. Claire's stomach knotted. She pulled out another photo, Hannah sitting on a hospital bed, bruising on her arm barely visible beneath medical tape. A date scribbled on the corner. 7 years ago. Claire froze. 7 years ago, Hannah told the family she tripped on a stair. Apparently, that was a lie. Another photo, this one taken outside a courthouse. Evan was holding her hand. She looked pale, frightened. Claire felt everything inside her twist. Hannah wasn't just hiding a marriage, she was hiding years of being controlled. A sound echoed down the hallway, soft but sharp enough to jolt Claire upright. Footsteps, slow, measured. Someone was in the house. Claire stuffed the photos into her coat and backed into the shadows, breath shallow, heart hammering. The footsteps drew closer and closer, and a weak voice whispered from behind her, "Claire?" Claire spun. Hannah stood at the bottom of a staircase, hair messy, face pale, eyes swollen from crying. She clutched the railing as though she'd collapse without it. "Oh my God, Hannah!" Claire rushed to her and pulled her into her arms. Hannah trembled violently. "You shouldn't be here. I didn't want you dragged into this." "Dragged into what?" Claire demanded. "What did he do to you?" Hannah shook her head desperately. "It's not just him. It's everything. I shouldn't have married him. I tried to leave. He found me. He always finds me." Claire cupped her sister's face gently. "Hannah, listen to me. We're leaving, now. I'll get you help. I'll get you somewhere safe." "No," Hannah whispered, stepping back. "You don't understand. It's not just about me anymore." "What does that mean?" Hannah's eyes filled with tears. "Evan isn't acting alone." Claire froze. "What do you mean?" "There's someone else. Someone who told him everything. About me, about you, about our family." Hannah's voice cracked. "He knows about Mom's condition. He knows where you work. He knows where I hide." "Hannah, who?" Before the question left Claire's mouth, the floorboards near the front door creaked. Hannah's eyes widened with terror. "He's here." Claire grabbed her hand. "We'll go out the back." "No," Hannah whispered. "He'll expect that." "Then we'll call the police." Hannah backed away, shaking her head violently. You don't understand. If the police come, it'll get worse. He told me he'd make sure you paid for it. Another footstep. Closer. Heavy. Purposeful. Claire's breath caught. She pulled Hannah behind the staircase, pressed her against the wall. Footsteps echoed through the house, slow and deliberate, searching. A man's voice filled the air, smooth, cold, terrifyingly calm. Hannah, I know you're here. Evan. Claire's nails dug into her palm. Hannah silently sobbed, covering her mouth with both hands to keep herself from making a sound. Evan continued walking. Running wasn't smart, and involving your sister? A soft laugh. That was even worse. Claire's heart pounded so hard she thought he could hear it. A floorboard creaked, this time above them. Hannah froze. Claire froze. Evan wasn't alone. Someone else was in the house. Someone upstairs. A second voice, a whisper, barely audible, but male. She's not here. Look downstairs. Claire felt a chill run down her spine so violently she nearly gasped. There really was someone else helping him. But who? Why? How much did they know? Hannah tugged Claire's sleeve and mouthed, We have to go. Claire nodded. They moved inch by inch along the wall toward a side door leading into what looked like a laundry room. But just as Claire reached the handle, her phone buzzed. A single notification. A message from the unknown number. He's not the only one you need to fear. Look behind you. Claire turned, and a shadow stepped out of the darkness near the kitchen entrance. Not Evan. Someone else. Someone Claire recognized instantly and never expected to see here. Her breath died in her throat. Chapter 4. The Betrayal Inside the Family. For a moment, Claire couldn't breathe. Her mind refused to accept the shape standing in the kitchen doorway. Her uncle, Daniel Bennett, her late father's brother, the man who used to bring her and Hannah chocolate when they were children, the man who moved out of town 5 years ago, quietly, without explanation. And now he was here, in this abandoned house, standing between her and the only way out. Uncle Dan? Claire whispered, voice shaking. Daniel raised a finger to his lips. Quiet, sweetheart. He's still close. Hannah's nails dug into Claire's arm. No, she breathed. Claire, don't listen to him. Daniel stepped closer, that familiar gentle smile bending into something colder, sharper. Hannah, you shouldn't talk, he said softly. You know how this works. Claire positioned herself in front of Hannah. What are you doing here? Why are you with him? Daniel tilted his head, studying her with unsettling. Chapter 4. The Betrayal Inside the Family. For a moment, Claire couldn't breathe. Her mind refused to accept the shape standing in the kitchen doorway. Her uncle, Daniel Bennett, her late father's brother, the man who used to bring her and Hannah chocolate when they were children, the man who moved out of town 5 years ago, quietly, without explanation. And now he was here, in this abandoned house, standing between her and the only way out. Uncle Dan? Claire whispered, voice shaking. Daniel raised a finger to his lips. Quiet, sweetheart. He's still close. Hannah's nails dug into Claire's arm. No, she breathed. Claire, don't listen to him. Daniel stepped closer, that familiar gentle smile bending into something colder, sharper. Hannah, you shouldn't talk, he said softly. You know how this works. Claire positioned herself in front of Hannah. What are you doing here? Why are you with him? Daniel tilted his head, studying her with unsettling calm. Claire, your sister has a talent for chaos, always has. Someone had to keep an eye on her. She's your niece, Claire snapped. You're supposed to protect her, not stalk her. Protect? Daniel laughed quietly. Is that what you think this is? Protection? He moved another step forward, and Claire had the terrifying realization that she had never truly known this man, not the real version, not the one capable of standing here, in the dark, in a house that smelled like fear. Hannah tugged Claire again, whispering, "He's the one who told Evan where I was. Every time I tried to leave, Dan found me." Claire's heart slammed against her ribs. Daniel sighed. "I didn't want to get involved, but you left me no choice." "No choice?" Claire's voice cracked. "No choice but to help a man hunt your own niece?" "You don't understand," Daniel said, his voice tightening. "Hannah married Evan because she owed him, and she owes me too." Hannah flinched. "Claire, he's lying." Daniel's eyes hardened. "That's not a lie, Hannah. You remember what happened 7 years ago. You remember who cleaned it up for you." Hannah gasped softly and shook her head, horrified. Claire felt the floor tilt downward. "What happened 7 years ago?" Neither of them answered. Daniel's smile returned, the wrong smile, the kind that hides teeth. "This little reunion is lovely, truly, but Evan and I have work to finish. Come with me, both of you, quietly, and we'll settle this like adults." "No," Claire said sharply. Daniel exhaled, disappointed. "I was hoping you wouldn't fight me." From the front of the house, Evan's footsteps echoed again, closer this time, steady, controlled. "Daniel," Evan called, "did you find them?" Daniel didn't take his eyes off Claire. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "Let me talk." But Claire wasn't about to stay anywhere near him. She scanned the room, mind racing. There, near the old back door, hung a rusted fire extinguisher. She nodded subtly toward it. Hannah saw and understood. "Dan," Claire said loudly, stepping forward, "you said we could settle this like adults, so talk to me. Leave Hannah out of it." Daniel's expression softened almost imperceptibly. "Claire, you were always the reasonable one." Behind her, Hannah inched toward the extinguisher. Claire kept going, voice steady despite the panic roaring inside her. "You said she owes you. For what? What could she have possibly done?" Daniel hesitated, and that hesitation was all they needed. Hannah lunged for the extinguisher. "Run!" she screamed. But Daniel moved faster than any man his age should. He grabbed Claire's arm, yanking her backward, slamming her against the wall so hard the breath flew from her lungs. "Hannah, stop!" he growled. Before he could finish, Hannah swung the extinguisher with both hands. It struck Daniel across the shoulder with a sickening thud. He staggered. Claire tore herself free, grabbed Hannah's wrist, and sprinted toward the side door. Evan's footsteps thundered from the hallway. "Daniel, where are they?" Claire pushed the door open. Rain slammed into them like a wall. They ran. Feet pounding through mud and weeds, breath ragged, wind whipping tears across their faces. The house loomed behind them like a dying monster. "Hannah, this way," Claire gasped, pulling her toward the tree line behind the property. But Hannah jerked to a stop. "No, we can't go home. They know where we live. We need—" A flashlight cut through the darkness. From the house. Daniel's voice rose behind them, furious now, stripped of all warmth. "Hannah! Claire! Don't make this worse!" They ducked behind an old shed, hearts racing. Hannah clutched Claire's jacket with trembling fingers. "He wasn't always like this. After Dad died, he changed. He said our family owed him and that I was the one who had to pay." Claire swallowed hard, trying to process the avalanche of betrayal. "What does he want from you, Hannah?" Hannah pressed her forehead against Claire's shoulder, voice breaking. He wants me to stay married to Evan. He says it's the only way to fix what happened. What happened? Claire insisted. Tell me. A crack echoed from behind them, the snap of a twig under someone's foot. Evan's voice drifted through the wind. You can't run forever. You know that. Claire squeezed Hannah's hand. We have to move. Now. Hannah nodded, tears streaking through the rain. There's a bus station 2 miles from here. If we get to it, we can disappear, even just for a night. Claire took a breath, then another. Yes, let's go. But before they could take a step, headlights flashed across the field. A car engine roared. Another figure stepped out, blocking the path to the road. Claire's blood froze. Someone else. Not Evan, not Daniel. Someone who should have never been part of this. Someone whose presence made Hannah's knees buckle. Hannah whispered, voice cracking with disbelief. No, no, it can't be you. The figure took one step forward, illuminated by the headlights, and Claire felt her heartbeat collapse into silence. It was her mother, Linda Bennett, soaking wet, expression blank, eyes distant, and she whispered, Girls, you need to stop running from him. Claire felt the world tilt violently beneath her feet. Rain sheeted across the field, turning the earth to mud beneath Claire's boots. But nothing, absolutely nothing, felt as surreal as the sight of her mother standing under the headlights, soaked, shaking, yet staring at them with an expression Claire had never seen before. A mixture of fear and loyalty, but not to them. Mom? Claire choked out. What are you doing here? Linda stepped forward, hands trembling. Girls, please don't make this harder. Hannah's voice cracked. Mom, did he bring you here? Did Evan tell you to come? Linda didn't answer. Her silence was enough. Claire felt her stomach twist violently. Mom, you don't understand what he's done. You don't understand, Linda snapped, surprising them both with a sudden sharpness. You don't know what I've done to protect this family. I have spent years cleaning up after your mistakes. Hannah staggered back, as if slapped. Mom, not you too, she whispered. Please don't take his side. Linda's face softened with heartbreak, but she didn't move toward them. Instead, she glanced behind her, toward the direction of the abandoned house, where Daniel and Evan were still searching. You girls don't see the full picture. Evan is trying to help us fix what happened. Claire felt a cold dread rise up her spine. There it was again. Fix what happened. What did happen? Claire demanded. What are all of you hiding from me? Hannah shook her head violently, tears spilling down her cheeks. No, Claire, don't. Yes, Claire cut in. I'm done with half-truths. I'm done being the one kept in the dark. What happened 7 years ago? Linda closed her eyes, rain slipping down her face like tears. When she spoke, her voice was fragile. That night, the night your father died. Claire froze. The memory was a wound that had never fully healed. He didn't fall, Linda whispered. He wasn't alone. Claire felt the air leave her lungs. Hannah was there, Linda continued, and Evan was the one who found her. He made sure the police never asked questions. Claire's heart plummeted. She turned to Hannah. Hannah, tell me that's not true. Hannah sobbed, wrapping her arms around her. I didn't mean for it to happen. Dad was drinking. He grabbed my arm. He wouldn't let go. I pushed him because I was scared. He fell. I froze. I didn't know what to do. Claire staggered back. No, Hannah, why didn't you tell me? You were away at college, Hannah said through tears. Mom was screaming. I couldn't breathe. And then Evan showed up, out of nowhere. He said he knew how to make it look like an accident. Claire felt sick. She remembered that night, the frantic call, the rushed flight home, the strange inconsistencies, the unanswered questions. But she was told grief made memories blurry. She never questioned it. "Evan covered everything," Hannah whispered. "He said my life belonged to him after that I had to do what he said." Claire pressed her mouth to her mother. "That's why he married you." Hannah nodded, broken. "And every time I tried to run, Uncle Dan found me. Mom begged me to stop. She said if Evan told the truth, we would all lose everything." Claire turned to her mother, voice shaking with disbelief. "So you let him control her?" Linda's face crumpled. "I was trying to protect the family, protect Hannah, protect you." "No," Claire said hoarsely. "You protected him." A sharp crack echoed across the field. Footsteps, voices, a beam of flashlight sweeping the tree line. Evan. Daniel. They were close. Claire grabbed Hannah's hand. "Mom, come with us. We can still fix this. We can tell the truth together." Linda's eyes filled with tears so thick they blurred the headlights behind her. "I can't," she whispered. "I made promises. I made deals. They'll destroy us if you run." Claire's voice turned cold. "We're already destroyed." Hannah took a step toward her mother, hands trembling. "Mom, please, don't do this. I can't survive him again." Linda broke. Her shoulders shook. Her hands flew to her mouth. And for a moment, just one, Claire thought she would finally choose her daughters. But then, a male voice cut through the rain, steady and terrifying. "Linda, step aside." Linda froze. Claire's blood iced over. Evan emerged into the light, with Daniel right behind him, both soaked, both breathing hard, both furious. Hannah whimpered, clinging to Claire. Evan smiled, slow, controlled, familiar. "Thank you for bringing them here, Linda," he said softly. Linda crumpled, shame overtaking her face. "I didn't," she stammered. "Evan, please don't hurt them." "Linda," Daniel hissed, "stop talking." Evan lifted a hand, silencing them both. His eyes locked on Claire. "You've caused enough trouble for one day. It's time to end this." Claire stepped in front of Hannah. "If you want her," she said through clenched teeth, "you go through me." Evan's smile widened slightly. "Gladly." Daniel moved forward to grab Hannah, but suddenly, Linda threw herself in between them, screaming, "Stop!" Daniel yanked her backward. Evan didn't even flinch. "Linda," Evan said calmly, "you promised me control. Let me have it." Claire felt her heart ripping apart. "Mom, please, choose us." Linda looked at her daughters, really looked at them, her face contorting with anguish, guilt, love, and fear all at once. Then suddenly, she ran, not toward Evan, not toward Daniel, but toward Claire and Hannah. "Go!" she screamed. "Run!" Evan lunged to grab her. Daniel shouted. Chaos erupted. Claire seized Hannah's hand and sprinted into the darkness, her mother's voice echoing behind them. "I'm sorry! I'm so sorry!" They didn't look back. Branches whipped their faces as they tore through the woods, stumbling over roots, slipping in mud, lungs burning. Behind them, Evan roared in fury. Daniel cursed. Men crashed through the trees, close enough that Claire could hear their breaths. Hannah sobbed, voice barely a whisper. "Claire, where are we going?" Claire didn't know. She only knew one thing. They had one chance, one last place she prayed Evan didn't know about. A place Hannah had sworn never to return. "We're going," Claire gasped, "to the place where this all started." Hannah paled. "No, Claire, not there. We don't have a choice." The trees thinned. The silhouette of a building emerged in the distance, dark, towering, familiar. The old family cabin. The place Hannah and Evan first met 7 years ago. Chapter 6. The cabin that remembered everything. The cabin emerged from the darkness like something exhumed from a grave. Warped timber, broken porch rails, windows fogged by years of neglect. Claire hadn't seen this place since their father's funeral. Hannah had refused to come back. Claire never understood why. Now she did. Hannah froze at the tree line, breath trembling in cold clouds. "Claire, please, not here." But the shouts behind them, Evan's cruel command echoing through the woods, made the choice for them. Claire tightened her grip on Hannah's hand. "This cabin is remote. If we can barricade ourselves inside, we'll have time to think." "To think?" Hannah's voice cracked. "Claire, everything began here. Everything he became, everything he did, started in this place." Claire hesitated. "What do you mean?" But Hannah only closed her eyes, tears slipping down her muddy cheeks. "You'll see." They ran the final stretch and shoved through the door as rain hammered the roof like fists. Claire slammed the rusted bolt across the frame. The sound echoed through the empty cabin. It felt like locking themselves inside a coffin. Dust drifted in the air like ash. Old blankets lay rotting on a moth-eaten couch. A cracked photograph of their family still hung above the fireplace. Hannah at 16, Claire at 22, both leaning against their father's arms. A moment frozen before everything splintered. Hannah turned away from it instantly. Claire lit a small lantern from an emergency kit under the sink. Their father always kept supplies here. The flame flickered across Hannah's pale face. "Hannah," Claire whispered, "tell me what happened here." Hannah hugged herself as if holding her ribs together. "He wasn't supposed to be here that night." "Who?" "Evan." Claire's heart lurched. "He met you here 7 years ago?" Hannah nodded shakily, stepping toward the far corner of the cabin, the place where a narrow staircase descended into the old basement. "You remember how Dad used to store his tools down there?" Hannah whispered. "Yeah. That's where I went to hide after I pushed him. I thought Dad was just unconscious. I didn't know what to do. I panicked. I ran downstairs and locked myself in." Claire bit back her own tears. "And Evan found you?" "No." Hannah shook her head. "He was already there." Claire stared at her. "What? Why?" "He followed me from the bar earlier that night. I didn't know he liked me back then. He barely talked to me. But that night, he was already watching." Claire's ground tilted. "Why would he follow you?" "Obsession," Hannah whispered. "Even then, I didn't see it. I thought he was helping me. I thought it was fate that he showed up at the exact moment I needed someone. I told him everything. I trusted him." Her voice broke. "And he used it. He made sure the police believed Dad tripped. He said he saved me. He said I owed him my life." "Hannah," Claire whispered, pulling her sister close. "He didn't let me leave the basement until I agreed," Hannah continued, voice hollow. "He made me promise I'd stay with him forever. I didn't understand what he meant, not until much later." Claire felt fire ignite in her chest, anger so hot it made her dizzy. She was about to speak when a loud crack struck the front door. Both sisters froze. Another crack, this time louder. Evan's voice, muffled but unmistakable, slithered through the boards. "Hannah, Claire, open the door." Claire's heart whipped into her throat. Hannah backed away until she hit the wall, shaking violently. I I can't do this again. Claire stepped between her and the door. You won't. I'm here now. But the door frame shuddered with another hit. Girls, Daniel called, voice low, steady. Let's stop pretending. You can't outrun the past. Claire clenched her fists. We're not pretending. We're surviving. Silence. Then Evan spoke again, quieter, almost gentle. Hannah, you came back here. You came home. Hannah sobbed into her hands. Claire pulled her into the kitchen. Basement, she whispered. We can hide. There's a back hatch. No, Hannah grabbed her wrist. There's something you don't know. Something in that basement I never wanted you to see. Whatever it is, it's better than staying up here. Hannah squeezed her eyes shut. Claire, it's not just memories down there. Evan left something, proof, something he said would destroy our family if I ever left him. Claire hesitated. What kind of proof? Footsteps creaked across the porch. Evan. He was checking windows. Claire swallowed hard. We don't have time. She guided Hannah toward the basement door. The hinges groaned as she pulled it open. Cold air spilled out, smelling of damp earth and old metal. They crept down into the darkness, lantern trembling in Claire's hand. The basement hadn't changed in years. Shelves of tools, dusty jars, old furniture, a workbench stained with oil, and in the center, covered with a tarp, a large trunk. The same trunk their father kept locked, the same trunk he told them never to touch. Hannah stared at it with hollow eyes. That's what Evan found the night Dad died. He told me if I ever ran, he'd open it. Why? What's in it? Hannah shook her head. I don't know, but Evan does, and he says it proves Dad wasn't the man we thought he was, that our family didn't deserve to be clean. Claire knelt before the trunk, hands shaking. We need to open it, now. Hannah backed away, whispering, No, Claire, please. But a sudden crash from upstairs cut her off. The cabin shook. The door had been forced open. Evan's footsteps descended onto the wooden floor above. Daniel's voice followed. Check the rooms. They're here. I know it. Hannah grabbed Claire's shoulders. Claire, listen to me. If we open that trunk, we can't undo what's inside. Claire looked at the dusty lock. Lightning flashed through the basement window. Above them, Evan's footsteps reached the basement door. He was seconds away. Claire whispered, We don't have a choice. The basement door creaked open. Hannah gasped. Evan's silhouette filled the top of the stairs. Well, he said softly, isn't this familiar? Claire grabbed a crowbar from the workbench, jammed it under the trunk's lock. Hannah, Claire whispered, get behind me. The lock snapped open with a metallic crack. Evan took one step down. Claire lifted the lid. Hannah screamed. Inside the trunk, not tools, not papers, not old memories, but something that shattered everything they believed about their father. Claire reeled backward, breath ripped from her chest. No, this can't be real. Hannah sobbed into her hands. Evan smiled coldly from the stairs. Now you understand why I did what I did. Claire's heart hammered against her ribs. What is this? She whispered. Evan stepped down one more stair, eyes gleaming. The truth, he said softly. The truth your father died trying to hide. Chapter 7. The truth that didn't want to be found. Claire stared into the trunk, her breath frozen in her throat. Inside, neatly stacked, wrapped in old canvas, sealed with care, were medical files. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Some yellowed with age, some newer, all labeled with names. Names of women. Names of patients, names of people Claire didn't recognize, and one name she did. Linda Bennett, their mother. Claire's heart squeezed painfully. This This can't be real. Dad wasn't a doctor. Why would he have these? Evan descended one more step, the wooden stair groaning under his shoe. Your father wasn't a doctor, he said calmly, but he should have been. He worked at the clinic before it closed, as a technician, before he found more profitable ways to use his access. Claire shook her head, tears cutting through the dirt on her cheeks. No, he was strict, flawed, but he wasn't a criminal. Evan motioned toward the files. Read them. Claire grabbed the closest one, uneven handwriting, a date from 8 years ago, and flipped it open. Her world tilted. Blood test results, unusual substances, unreported sedation, signatures forged with the clinic's old letterhead, and a note at the bottom. B resistant. Increasing dosage. Claire's voice cracked. What? What was he doing to these women? Evan didn't blink. He was taking payments from men who wanted proof. Proof their wives were faithful. Proof their girlfriends weren't. A pause. Your father built a business out of collecting secrets. Hannah collapsed against a shelf, sobbing into her hands. No, Dad didn't do this. Claire, he didn't. But Claire felt it, the sinking, suffocating dread of recognition. Flashbacks she once dismissed now sharpened with horrifying clarity. Her father locking drawers when they walked in, late-night calls he refused to explain, the thick envelopes he hid in the shed, the strange tension between him and Uncle Daniel, Mom crying in the bathroom with the faucet running. Claire's chest constricted. He used these files to manipulate people, to blackmail them, to negotiate, to stay powerful. That's a lie. Why would we never know? Evan smiled coldly, because Linda protected him. Hannah's head snapped up. Mom knew? Above them, the cabin floor creaked. Linda's voice, weak and pleading, floated down the stairs. Girls, don't listen to him, please. Evan didn't even turn around. Linda, you covered for him for years. Don't pretend otherwise. Claire's stomach twisted. No, tell me you didn't know about this. Linda's shadow appeared in the stairwell, hunched, trembling. Rain dripped from her hair as she clutched the railing. He tried to stop him, she said, voice splintering. Your father, he wasn't always like that. He changed after he lost his job, after he lost himself. Hannah shook violently. You protected him instead of protecting us. Linda's face crumpled. I thought if I kept the family together, if I kept his secrets, he would stop. He promised me he would. But he didn't, and you still let him stay. Linda sank onto the stair, sobbing softly. I was terrified. He said if I told anyone, he'd tell the world about my medical file, the things I didn't want anyone to know. Claire's breath hitched. You used your privacy against you? Linda nodded miserably. And then, when Hannah came home that night, shaking, bruised, your father went to grab her. He was drunk, out of control. I tried to separate them, and when she pushed him, her voice cracked in half. He fell, and he didn't get up. Hannah whimpered, covering her ears. Stop! Please stop! Claire swallowed hard. So, Evan helped cover it up? Why? Why would he do that for her? Evan's gaze flicked to Hannah, hungry, obsessive, familiar. because some men fall in love with a person's darkest moment. They see something they can claim. Claire felt a bolt of ice shoot through her spine. "You didn't save her," Claire hissed. "You trapped her." Evan tilted his head. "Yes, and she stayed trapped, until Daniel and I found the trunk, until we realized how many people your father had ruined, how many men wanted justice." Claire stepped in front of Hannah, shielding her. "So this is revenge?" "This," Evan said softly, "is balance." Hannah collapsed against Claire's shoulder, sobbing. "I thought I married him. He'd destroy the files. He promised he would." Evan laughed. "Oh, Hannah, you should know by now I never destroy leverage." Claire's hands shook with fury. "So what happens now? You kill us? Drag Hannah back to your house? Blackmail us forever?" Evan's smile faltered. For the first time, Claire saw something like panic behind his eyes. "I didn't want any of this. I wanted a family." "You wanted control," Claire snapped. The basement trembled as thunder cracked overhead. Daniel's voice echoed faintly from outside. "They're still in the basement. Evan, finish this." Evan's expression hardened. He stepped fully onto the stairs. "Girls," Linda whispered, petrified, "run!" Evan lifted a hand toward her. "Stay where you are." Claire grabbed the crowbar from the workbench. Hannah clung to her arm. Linda slid down another stair, shielding them both. "Evan," she said, voice breaking, "please, let them go." "You're not negotiating this time, Linda." His foot touched the next step, and the next. Claire's grip tightened. The next would bring him into the basement. Linda screamed. Hannah sobbed. Claire felt every nerve in her body ignite. But before Evan could take another step, a voice thundered across the cabin floor above them. "Everyone, freeze! Police!" Claire's breath caught. Heavy boots, radios crackling, orders shouted. Flashlights swept across the cabin. Someone must have called them. But who? Evan turned sharply toward the noise, jaw tight, eyes blazing. Claire pushed Hannah behind the workbench. The basement door flew open. 2 officers stormed down the stairs, guns raised. "Hands where we can see them, now!" Evan froze. Linda collapsed into sobs. Hannah shook uncontrollably. Claire felt her heart pound so hard she tasted metal. Evan slowly raised his hands, but he looked at Claire, straight into her soul, and whispered, "This isn't over." The officers seized him, pinning him against the stairs, shouting commands. Daniel's voice bellowed somewhere upstairs before being silenced. Claire wrapped Hannah in her arms as the officers led Evan up the stairs. Hannah buried her face in Claire's shoulder, voice cracking. "What happens now? Claire, what happens to us?" Claire held her tighter. "We get out," she whispered. "We tell the truth, all of it." Hannah shivered. "But what if the truth destroys us?" Claire looked at the open trunk, the files, the secrets, the legacy of a father they never truly knew. "It already did," she whispered. As officers shouted above, as rain hammered the earth, as Evan's voice echoed faintly through the cabin, Claire knew this was far from over, because the police might have taken Evan, but the files in the trunk, the lies, the secrets, they weren't done with the Bennett sisters. Not even close. Chapter 8. The Truth Walks Out the Door. Blue and red lights pulsed through the rain-soaked trees like a trembling heartbeat. The cabin, once a place of childhood summers and burnt marshmallows, was now surrounded by police cars, forensic vans, and officers shouting orders across the mud. Evan had been dragged out in handcuffs, Daniel tackled beside him, both shoved into separate vehicles. Their mother sat wrapped in a thermal blanket near the porch stairs, her hands shaking violently as paramedics checked her vitals. Hannah sat on the back bumper of an ambulance, a medic shining a light into her eyes, checking for shock. Claire stayed beside her, refusing to move, refusing to breathe without her sister in sight. "You're safe," Claire whispered, brushing Hannah's damp hair off her cheek. But Hannah didn't look convinced. Her eyes stayed fixed on the cabin door, as if something inside still had claws locked around her ribs. A detective approached them, Detective Marcus Hale, tall, worn, his coat dripping from the storm. "Ms. Bennett," he began, looking at both sisters, "we'll need full statements, tonight if possible." Claire nodded numbly. "Of course." "For now," he added, "is there anything inside the cabin we should secure immediately? Anything dangerous? Any evidence tied to the suspects?" Claire's breath hitched. The trunk. The files. She pointed toward the basement. "There's something you need to see." The detective signaled two officers and followed Claire and Hannah through the wrecked doorway, down the creaking steps, and into the basement. The lantern still flickered on the workbench. The trunk sat open on the floor, but the files were gone. Every last one. The trunk was empty. Claire froze mid-sentence, her throat closing. "No," she whispered. "No, they were right here. There were dozens of files, hundreds, medical reports, blackmail material." Detective Hale crouched and ran a gloved hand across the bottom of the trunk. "No dust disturbance besides yours," he said. "Whatever was in here, it's gone." Hannah stared, horrified. "He must have taken them. Evan must have grabbed everything before he came down to the basement." "No," Claire said hoarsely. "He didn't have time. He was too close to us, too focused on us." She turned slowly toward the stairwell. Her mind replayed the last few minutes before the police stormed in. A shadow, a movement, someone slipping out the back. And suddenly, she knew. "Mom," Claire whispered. Hannah's eyes widened. "No, Claire, no, she wouldn't." Claire said, her voice trembling. She was here before the police, and she was terrified, not just of Evan, not just of Dad's secrets being exposed, but of what those files could mean for her. Detective Hale frowned. "Are you suggesting your mother removed evidence from a crime scene?" Claire swallowed the knot in her throat. "I'm suggesting she's been keeping secrets for so long, she doesn't know how to stop." The detective exchanged a glance with one of his officers. "We'll speak to her, but first I need both of you out of this basement." As the officers exited, Hannah clutched Claire's sleeve. "Claire," she whispered shakily, "what if Mom isn't protecting Dad anymore? What if she's protecting herself?" Claire couldn't answer. Not when she suddenly remembered the label she had seen earlier. Linda Bennett, confidential. Why did her mother have a file in her husband's secret cache? Why had she hidden it all these years? What was buried in that basement that Linda would risk everything to erase? They stepped outside into the storm. Their mother sat hunched on the porch steps, hands clasped tightly together like she was praying. "Mom," Claire said gently, "we need to talk." Linda looked up, ears red, face pale. "Girls, I'm so sorry for everything." "Where are the files?" Claire asked quietly. Linda froze. That was answer enough. Detective Hale approached. "Ma'am, we'll need you to come with us." Linda shook her head violently, panic sparking. No, you don't understand. Those files, they don't tell the whole story. They'll twist everything. They'll say things that aren't true." Claire felt her heart tear into two. "What aren't you telling us? What was Dad keeping about you?" Linda's lips trembled. I can't. Not now. Not yet. Detective Hale stepped forward, but Claire raised her hand. Please, she said, voice barely audible. Let me talk to her alone for a moment. Hale studied her, then nodded once. 2 minutes. Claire knelt in front of her mother. Mom, we can't keep living like this, running from ghosts, hiding from truth. Please, tell me. Linda gripped her daughter's hands. Her voice trembled. Your father didn't fall out of love with me. He discovered something. Something about my past I never told anyone. Something that terrified him. Claire's skin go cold. What past? Linda closed her eyes. I wasn't the person he thought I was, and those files, they contain the truth about me. Claire felt her breath falter. What truth? Linda's eyes snapped open, not fragile anymore, not broken, sharp, focused. Claire, I didn't come from the family I told you I did, and the man who helped your father create that system, the man who taught him to gather secrets, wasn't Daniel. She leaned in so close, Claire felt her breath. It was my father. Claire's heart slammed into her chest. What? Claire squeezed her hands. There's a whole history you don't know, a history your father tried to expose, and I tried to bury. Thunder roared above them. Police lights flashed across the trees. Hannah ran to them breathless. Claire, Detective Hale found something in the woods. What? Claire asked. Hannah swallowed. A bag. Someone dropped it while running. She held up a plastic evidence sack. Inside, a handful of files, the top one labeled Claire Bennett, pending. Claire felt the world bottom out beneath her. Her voice cracked. Mom, what is this? Linda's eyes shimmered with tears. Claire, he wasn't finished. Claire's breath caught. Who? Linda slowly lifted her trembling hand and pointed back toward the dark woods, toward the direction of the road, towards someone who had slipped away, someone no one had seen since the police arrived. Daniel. He's not running from the police. He's running because he has the rest of the files. Claire felt something cold settle into her bones, a truth colder than the rain, a truth that changed everything. Your uncle, Linda said, cracking, he isn't done with us. And in the distance, between the trees, Claire could have sworn she saw a figure watching.